Yo, hey, it's the Spark of Madness.
We have an
awesome show.
Okay. Performance of the year.
That's Ben. That's Aaron. We need the
I can't follow that.
From the day we arrived on the planet and blinking stepped into the night.
Today we're doing.
Play the music. Play the music.
If you can't guess, we're gonna do the movie Yesterday today. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I thought we were gonna watch that tomorrow.
We're doing The Lion King.
Okay. May as well be.
Let's go ahead and just, if you're new to the show, while Ben's pulling it up, we are basically, if you're new to the show, we review, we talk about the movie, and then at the end we give a rating. So, if for some reason you haven't seen this movie, Ben, take it away.
Leave now or forever hold your peace. All right, here we go. The Lion King. The Lion King is a cinematic revelation for the ages. In a time where movie studios are pumping out soulless remakes and reboots left and right, finally, someone has the audacity to boldly craft an original story for an audience hungry for something fresh and new. And that someone is Walt Disney Pictures. That story is The Lion King. Hamlet. The Lion King is a 2019 computer animated musical, a masterpiece about, you guessed it, the environment. The plot follows Simba, a young lion who must embrace his role as the rightful king of his native land following the murder of his father, Mufasa. I like the way that sounds. At the hands of his uncle, Scar.
What an unfortunate name.
Yes. Directed by John Favreau.
I don't know how I got these scars.
That'd be funny. We got to do that. Directed by John Favreau. The true stars of The Lion King are its voice cast, whose expressiveness and tone are perfectly rendered with the delicate attention to every detail and nuances onto the emotive faces of each and every photorealistic animal across the African savannah. In particular, you won't want to miss James Earl Jones, the voice of Mufasa, and never ever seen for performance.
Matt, did I detect some sarcasm in there?
No, not at all.
And.
Not complete without the shoulder gyrations.
All right, so no sarcasm whatsoever.
Okay.
This is now the third of 4 remakes from Disney this year. Right? No, maybe not this year.
I don't know, man.
Aladdin and Mulan are next in the future.
No, okay. Aladdin happened. We saw
or not Aladdin.
We reviewed Aladdin.
Little Mermaid.
We did a show
Sorry,
on that.
We were talking about the Little Mermaid. So they have 2 coming.
And
at
you
least
said
2.
Little Mermaid was next year.
Yeah. Dumbo, Aladdin,
right.
and now Lion King are the 3 this year.
I completely forgot about Dumbo.
And then is Maleficent movie
it might come up
this year?
Wasn't there
that's
already
not really
one?
a remake.
And then there's a sequel of Frozen.
Wait, wasn't there already a Maleficent movie?
Yes.
There's going to be another one.
Maleficent.
For those there, it's not.
I thought
not
that
really
movie
remakes,
did horribly.
Though. No, it did well. It actually
they make
it
a
did
lot of
well.
money.
It actually is the reason why there's more of these.
You can blame Maleficent.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the reasons.
Everything I know is wrong.
Everything the light touches is wrong.
Contrary to that intro, I'm just gonna, before we even get to the ratings, I'll say I didn't hate the movie like I hated Dumbo. I did. Did you guys hate this movie? Because I expected to go in hating it.
That's the wrong attitude to go in with.
The only reason you hated Dumbo because they tried to take a leap of faith and do something different that really fell on its face. And where this is just basically, that cover band I loved.
Yeah.
Different community theater doing it.
It was
a very expensive community theater.
Was the intro shot for shot? It was shot for
felt
shot,
pretty
right?
shot for shot.
Yeah.
It was like the Psycho.
The movie felt that way. Come on now.
I do have to say though, they brought back Hans Zimmer and he did some more variations of his score, and I loved that.
Yeah,
score.
he probably spent a whole weekend on it.
Yeah, but you know, it's the music sounds great. Like the actual score.
was good.
The score itself, like not the songs, the score.
Gosh, it must have been nice having something to work from.
He did, but he improved upon what he worked on. I'm saying like it was obviously the music.
Truly a one-off, standout performance. Go
All
on,
right.
man.
Aaron, I think you need to
Yeah.
like go on like a quick rant or something, because every comment you've made is thick with kind of a disdain for everything about this movie. It sounds like.
Remember Aladdin?
Yes.
We kind of enjoyed that. You know why? Because it wasn't the same movie. This was the same movie. The same. Every beat.
Everything.
It's exactly the same.
I'm sure there's little things that I'm not remembering because I haven't seen the original since I was 7.
Well, I guess when it's like, oh, what were the moments that were kind of different? Kind of means that the
Pumbaa
whole
says fart this time.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Oh, I didn't know he was supposed to say fart.
Well, in the
The first
original,
one.
he
Gets
Timon
cut
cuts
off.
him off before
Yeah.
he can
You
say
can't
fart.
say that in front of
See,
the kids.
daring new territory.
Well, that's funny. They couldn't say the word fart in front of the kids, but the Secret of NIMH said the word damn.
It's
Another
not that they
reason.
couldn't say fart; they just opted not to.
They made it a
not,
joke.
opted not.
Yeah.
You were talking before that you missed Nathan Lane.
Yes, I miss him. Why? If we can get James Earl Jones back in, why not Nathan Lane?
So-
Did Nathan Lane die?
Well, that's the problem. They shouldn't have used James Earl Jones. They should have used the Arby's meat guy.
Yeah, everybody.
But, I mean, seriously, the guy from
If you're
Mission
gonna change
Impossible.
everybody else, why keep
But,
James
like,
Earl Jones?
They'd be perfect. I think because they were probably going to think, oh, let's use Idris Elba. But no, we used him for another.
He's too
cat.
busy doing every other movie.
No, but they used him for Shere Khan.
Yeah.
So they can't use him again.
They wouldn't want the overlap.
yeah,
No,
that
but-
would be damaging.
But use the Arby's meat guy.
He would have been good. He would have been good.
He would have been great. He said, Simba, we have the meat and the antelopes and
It's the circle of life.
the circle of life.
No, here. Correct me if I'm
Apple
wrong.
slider.
Matt,
The dollar menu.
Matt,
Yes.
when was the last time either of you saw the original? Because me, it's
At
been a while.
least 10 years, at least.
Oh, probably not 10 years, but at some point.
So you are probably the most recent.
I
Was
saw
this?
the play in between at some point.
Oh, yeah, I saw the play too.
Yeah.
Okay,
which
well,
is awesome.
forget the play. The play's fine. Was this beat for beat?
Was it beat for beat?
Yes, I think so.
It was,
Right?
Okay.
it was like
I don't know.
Tell me
exactly
if I'm wrong.
I would say that beat for beat, story beats, lines, the things that happen was exactly the same. They took like some elongated time, I thought, at various points, but otherwise it was exactly the same story.
No,
The characters
your,
are the same.
Your cover band comparison. Allow me to make a similar but different one. Do you have a favorite band?
Yeah, Queen. I like Queen.
Imagine
me too.
if Freddie Mercury didn't die. Sad. God rest his soul. Imagine he came back for a reunion tour in 2019. He's old. He's tired. He does a very glitzy performance, lots of sparkle and production value, but his performance is just very underwhelming because he doesn't have it in him anymore. Mm-hmm. That's what this movie is.
I think
It's like you in the bedroom.
Yes.
hit the soundboard.
Okay.
Can I make a confession?
Okay.
I didn't see the movie.
What?
Really?
I didn't see the movie. I was gonna see how long I can go without.
Oh,
it,
you
know.
jerk.
I didn't mean, but I listened to the soundtrack and the music. I listened to the whole thing.
Okay,
but-
guaranteed, Ben. If you remember the original movie, you've seen this movie.
That's what I hear from all the different reviews. But I was going to see it, but the person I was waiting to see it with couldn't see it the when we want to see it, so we're going to see it another time.
Okay.
So I'm going to eventually
Will
see
you
it.
review it then, or?
Well, my family's going tonight to see it in the drive-in. It's like,
Why don't you just like move your mouth and then we'll put the audio in later?
all right.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. You're pretty good at mimicking what I say as I say it. That was pretty bad, though. Anywho,
All right. Well, Aaron, so at least in your example, there's an element.
I didn't. That's the first time I didn't see a movie.
Aaron, have you
You
saw
didn't need to.
But I've seen it.
you have seen
I've
it.
seen it, right? I saw the better version, right?
They're pretty comparable. except
Oh
in a few
no,
areas.
no. The originals.
No.
excellent.
Look, I'm saying that it's not terrible. Okay, if there was no original Lion King, we'd probably be like, "Hey, this movie's pretty cool." Know what I mean?
So
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that. So for me, I'm just going to spoil my rating,
Go.
I guess. But for me, when I was thinking about this movie, I was if I had never seen The Lion King before, I would give it a 5. But because I have seen it, I'm giving it lower. And that's like, this is fine, and the graphics are really good. And if I'd never seen the story before, I'd kind of enjoy it, I guess. But like, there's so much missed having known what the original's like. And really, to me, the biggest gap is literally the animation, which is weird. Like,
That's my biggest problem as
it's
well.
just, and it's so impressive what they did. But then it's also like, the characters are not characters.
Can
They're
I-
just you're watching like a zoo special.
Can I make a point?
Please.
So, remember when I told you about Mowgli and the Mowgli
Yeah.
live
Yeah.
action? Well, it was different because I can compare them to the Jungle Book that John Favreau did, which is basically the same kind of special effects they did with this, but this is probably a little better now. But they did the opposite realm of characterizing these animals. So they don't really look like a wolf, but it's kind of a mix between a caricature of a wolf and stuff, and had more personality in it.
Stylized.
Yeah.
Very stylized. But I think it worked really well, and it made it more and it made more sense, and like these characters were more articulate in the way they talked and
Yeah, another example, Aslan from the Narnia movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of stiff, wasn't he?
No, he was pretty expressive for what they were going for.
But the Mowgli one took it to the next level.
Right.
And I think what if they were I think for this kind of story, and I think that's why we kind of accept Aladdin, because they're humans.
Yeah.
Because they are more
Aladdin
emotive.
works
yeah.
simply
But I think
because
this
they're
kind
human.
of story that, and also Mowgli had, or the Jungle Book had a human character in it.
Yeah.
And also King Louie was an ape-like character, so naturally they have more emotion than the
Yeah.
bear and Bagheera and stuff.
Yep.
But it just doesn't work.
No.
And when I listened to the whole voice acting and singing and stuff, it sounded like they put a lot of effort in their performances.
Yeah, props to them there.
I have some thoughts about the voice acting, but
But I don't know the whole. I didn't watch it all. I just listened to the music.
from the graphics, though, I know it's everybody's saying it's a nature documentary, whatever, and it's so bland. But like, to me, I actually really like that it was hyper realistic, because I saw a version where somebody touched up this version to make it better.
Yeah, and it didn't look good.
And it's you just basically made it look like 3D, really good looking Pixar
Cartoon.
3D of the original cartoon. It's like,
Yeah.
well, then you're just remaking it. At that point, you're just remaking the movie with better graphics, or not better graphics, but more.
So confused as to what they've done so far.
This is almost just by making them like blank slate face, like hyper real. It creates like a separate version, even though everything about the movies.
What you know what's interesting about it is from
same.
some other critics I hear say that in animation it just feels bigger and more epic, and everything, like even like the scale of things just feel better, and this feels kind of small from what they said. And one of the biggest
Do you agree with that, Aaron? That it felt small?
As your resident animator, I have a few things to say.
Well, I'm an animator too. Not as good as you though.
I have more. No, don't bow to me. As your lifelong animator, shall we say?
Yes.
Okay,
You're a real animator. I play one on TV.
very good. Hyper-realistic animation is not without its merit. It can be cool sometimes. Please stop mugging my camera. It can be cool. And in this case, a lot of it is very impressive. I was marveling at some of the things, like, wow, how'd they do that? That was pretty real.
There were some good. I would say the one spot where it stood out as really good was the "Just Can't Wait to Be King" song. I thought they did a good job making that not shot for shot. It was a little bit different.
Choreography, whatever.
I liked it.
But go back to your animation point.
Right.
About
When you do hyper-realism, you lose a lot of the nuance in the anthropomorphization of the animals' faces.
Well, even the set too. Like even like the style of everything just seems more angular and more
Forget
dramatic.
all that. That's a good point, but let's strip it down to my big point. animal faces don't emote like human faces.
No.
And when they're trying to act like humans, it doesn't come across, and you dip into the uncanny valley, and it just feels off.
The best time they ever did it was Babe.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they just animated the mouths. Like, it was just really subtle.
I mean, that's kind of how I'd characterize this. Babe just comes across a little better.
They tried to do it with this, and I think it wasn't terrible.
This
all
just
the way
comes
through,
across
but,
like an Affleck commercial.
The problem is, I would say
also,
maybe the problem
Babe
is
had puppets too, which was kind of cool.
Right, yeah.
just the scope of the story and what they're trying to communicate, as well as the fact that they're singing. Everything is supposed to be big, and like there's a lot of emotion packed into all of these different scenes, and then it's when you can't capitalize on it.
Funneled, all the emotion is funneled into this rigid animal.
Yeah, I will say when it comes to voice acting, I know we talked a lot about why didn't they keep the same Scar, right? I actually thought he was amazing for what, like, especially given all the hindrances of the animation. I thought Scar was great. I thought he was
not
awesome.
the weak link.
I thought he was really good.
Was he better than Jafar?
Yeah.
In the
Small.
new Jafar?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. He was the best part of the movie. No, you don't think so?
Nothing really stood out to me as something that I loved.
I guess people. I guess
Even
people,
Mufasa just felt neutered.
Yeah, Mufasa
I
was
guess
also
I
neutered.
hear that James Earl Jones' voice, he can't get it over.
Yeah,
the
that cat just got back from the spaying or something.
the bass is gone.
Well, he
Basically.
just didn't sound like he cared.
He's like, no.
There was no emphasis.
Well, I think it's what happened. This is the same feeling I had in Rogue One.
Yeah.
He's just like, don't choke on your aspirations.
He felt like he tried a little more.
Yeah,
in
but he
that
didn't
one.
have that same boom,
I know what you mean.
that bass,
I thought so.
crispness.
I actually thought John Oliver was good for Zazu. I thought
he sounds exactly like
I
Mr.
actually
Bean.
from a newness standpoint, I know you wanted Nathan Lane back. The only things that were new, and I thought they did fine, were Timon and Pumbaa. I actually thought they were good.
What was new about him?
Nothing.
They had totally different dialogue. Not totally different.
What
but
I
they
mean
had
to say is
different
they didn't show me
riffs and
anything
stuff.
that I couldn't predict.
Well, it was.
So I
I
hear
mean, that's a more of a holistic problem from a voice acting comedy standpoint.
From the
they
voice
weren't-
acting, they're fine.
So I hear a lot of the complaints is that it's unnecessarily longer than the original because they took longer to do certain things. Like the mouse at the beginning took a long time for him to kill. Like they weren't as tight, but if they were going to make things longer, they should have made more character stuff longer, more of the stuff because Nile has a song in the musical that they should have used that has like da 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 da. It used that theme. It's called like the wasteland or something like that. And like this is before she goes off into the wilderness to search for food and leave. And it's kind of an epic, cool, beautiful song. Except that we have Beyonce singing this. Like, why wouldn't you have that? You know.
So
a lot
she's
of
kind
people
of
are
a
mad
singer.
about that. And like, so you could have had more character stuff. I think when you fill it with like, I heard also like they're like in the cartoon, Simba like goes to the grass and his hair flies in the wind and Rafiki just picks it up and smells it. You know how efficient, like perfect efficient. Why? And they said this is when they had like a long dung beetle thing. It's like, why do we need that? We don't need that. But if you're going to spend more time on something, why don't you spend on something more important than something so stupid that's dumb? Well, doesn't make any sense.
I would agree with you on the character stuff. The problem is that there's not a lot of character building you can necessarily do when they're so realistic. Like, what are you going to add if the normal beats aren't really? I mean, you could try, I guess.
But I think it's more interesting than a dung beetle.
Sure,
I don't know.
And
Dung beetles are pretty like complex, dude.
They are.
I'll say the dung beetle got a chuckle in our theater. Not for me,
but fine, a chuckle. But do you want a better movie? Do you want a better story?
Oh yeah, no, I don't. Disagree.
I think about the animation, the original. They didn't have time. They could not afford or waste time on plot. So they crafted a really tight and perfect story.
To the wire.
To the wire. They know the beats are perfect. They know this is how long we need to spend here. This long we need to transition to the next scene. And blah 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 blah. This like
Post-scarcity cinema is ruining everything.
Absolutely. So they plan it so tight, and that's why and it's only so long, but it's a perfect story. That's why The Secret of NIMH is an awesome story. That's why like all these movies are so awesome because they really put. That's
the
why
stakes
Pixar
were high.
Even Pixar movies are tighter than this.
I mean, being I don't disagree that there are places where they could have trimmed the fat. I don't know if it would have changed my opinion, though. I guess is where I'm landing with what
Fair,
you're talking
fair.
about.
That's fine. That's fine. But I think
If you're commenting that it's a general problem that they just keep, the only way they have thought to make something feel newer with these stories, like what's different about this from the original, is to just add these random filler things. I agree with you. That's not helping.
I don't want filler. I want more character
You don't want
development.
filler. Yeah, I get
I want
you.
more character.
Yeah, maybe some Scar backstory.
Well, absolutely.
Oh,
Scar
yeah.
backstory or
Again,
little things like
best
that.
part of this movie.
Like little things. You know,
He was the only one. The reason I think he's the best part is not just before I get to two of my bigger complaints too, is that he was one of the few voice actors that nailed both sides of it. The normal speaking, just voice acting, and then the singing part. He only had one big song, but
not really a song.
be
I listened
prepared.
to
He was one of the only characters where it actually felt like the voice was coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, it just everything felt right with him. Everyone else, Beyonce nailed the singing. The regular
She's a
speaking,
bad
not.
actress.
I actually thought, I love Donald Glover. Everything he's done before, I thought he was bad on both sides of the coin
Really?
in this, actually,
He
which
sounded
was
good.
weird.
Guys, before I forget, I had a small ending part to my analysis of the animation. You were saying that it feels big, and you know what? It does.
Ben was saying that he wasn't sure.
Well,
you
people
said
are saying
know.
that it feels big.
Well, the animation felt
Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, it does feel big.
The animation felt bigger than this one.
Well, yeah.
in the original.
Allow me to expound. They both feel big, but there's no substance inside of this one. It's hollow.
And that's probably why it feels bigger.
Yeah, it feels bigger, but once you get inside, there's a couple of chairs.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that's why the original. That's why the original feels bigger because it's not hollow.
Yeah, because it's more to take in.
I see. I would.
It's more to analyze.
The word this feels bigger because it's literally looking at times huge open spaces because it's supposed to mimic reality. In
And
the
reality
2D
doesn't do anything.
The 2D animation, it's communicating a big area, but really it's pretty like it's not. You're in a. It feels like you're in a smaller room where there's a lot of little details. Like if
animation.
that makes sense to
let's
me.
make
Well,
something
Like
clear.
you're noticing the layering of things and how they relate to each other. I don't think it feels bigger.
No,
I don't.
I think
don't
the
think I
story
agree with
feels bigger. The story
story
is bigger,
does. Yeah, yeah.
But also this. Aladdin felt bigger than the Aladdin we saw. Everything felt small, even though probably visually it was bigger. Here's the key about filmmaking when it comes to sets and shooting locations. A lot of so let's take Batman Returns for an instance.
Ah, yes.
Batman Returns built this massive set. Huge set.
Yeah.
And then make sure they film the shit out of it. But when they film it, Gotham City is pretty small.
Yeah.
It felt really small. So, but when you film places that are part of something bigger, that you don't see the whole thing, your imagination paints in the rest of it.
Which is exactly what I was going to say.
And just because you don't show everything doesn't mean it's a bigger environment. If you show little bits of the environment, the rest of it paints in for
That's
you.
what I mean. Is they show everything in this, right?
And it felt
Traditional-
small, probably.
Traditional animation makes the mind work harder and have imagination.
Yeah. There's
And that leads into feeling like there's something more than there is there.
well, and just there's so much added when it's not hyper real. Like there's less.
Right. There's expression.
Yes, there's different
stylization.
color and there's so many different things that you can add in.
Which leads me into my controversial opinion. You want to hear my controversial opinion?
Here we go.
Yes.
I would love to see a hyper-real Lion King. But,
No singing.
hold on, wait for it. I want to see the Lion King even more hyper-real, where it's presented completely realistic as almost like a Nat Geo documentary. No talking, just animals being animals. And we're expected to follow along.
Like Benji the Hunted.
I would watch that because there's actually a mind exercise there. You follow me?
But it will not make Disney money. Because it's all about the bottom line.
It's not something I would think would be for everyone. It's what I would want to see.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think that'd be interesting. I think that's probably why you think you like the Mowgli movie. Because they try to take a serious tone.
You know, all this is just hard for me because I like Jon Favreau.
I have mixed feelings about Jon
He's
Favreau.
yeah.
I think he's not that
Do you
great
really
director.
think he directed this movie?
No.
He had a director's script,
But
and
I think Iron Man's a good movie, but it's not that great of a movie.
Oh,
It's just
the
far and away
I
better
like-
than
I
all
like
the other
Iron Man.
Marvel
I
movies.
like Iron Man.
It's just fine. It's John. I think John Favreau is a very good director, but he's definitely a studio director. He's definitely a studio will hire him because he's John Favreau.
Fair enough.
But he's great as an actor.
I liked him
Great
as
as
Happy.
an actor. He's a very good actor.
And Rudy, really great. Rudy, right?
No, Happy's in all the Marvel.
Happy
movies.
Oh.
is the driver for Iron Man.
He's in Rudy. Remember him and Rudy?
Haven't seen Rudy in a while. I need to see it again.
Him and Vince Vaughn were in Rudy, and that's when they met.
Okay.
Rudy.
Nice.
Yeah, he was an actor.
Aaron, give me.
I think he's a better actor than he is a director.
I've got two scenes.
He was
and
great on
then
Friends.
I've got two scenes, and then I want to go through one thing each of us liked. Two scenes that stood out to me that kind of embody everything we've been talking about. One, I guess, really is the "Long Live the King" scene. Totally flat. Didn't work for me at all.
It was better than I thought it was going to be,
I thought
but
it
it was still
terrible.
not good.
I thought it was really bad. The slow walk up the slow crawl up looked
was
weird to
very-
me, and then the emotion of the scene of him flipping,
It
and then
had-
it just looked like awkward flailing
Well,
around.
No. Let's just. It had the right setup and everything. It just kind of. There was no fanfare. Know what I mean? Not that there should be fanfare when someone's dying. I mean to say, just kind of
Anticlimactic.
drooped.
Yeah,
Yeah, anticlimactic.
I didn't like. I just did not like.
It
that.
wasn't as epic as the way they made it in the movie.
Well,
The original movie.
it felt
The
like
camera work
forced.
felt very lazy.
It felt forced epic because it was so.
It wasn't even epic at all. They took out all the camera moves.
It was bad. The other scene that I think is the biggest miss when it comes to all of this was when adult Simba's talking to Mufasa in the clouds, and it just looks like clouds.
Oh,
That's it. It's just
Yeah, but it has to be real, Matt.
they tried to have lightning at one point kind of look like a outline of a face for a second, but it looked like he was just talking into the clouds.
Why not make
It-
it?
You're missing so
It's almost
much.
like
compared to it.
like John Favreau wanted him to go. They wanted to go realistic. They wanted to go hyper realistic. They didn't want to go. Didn't want them to emote more. They want to make it look realistic. And I think it's-
Emotion is for people without money.
I think it's a bad mistake. Because you know what? When I watched the Jungle Book one, it felt like Shere Khan had like a lot of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The way he was in it.
Aaron, what was one thing you liked about this movie?
We all liked the Lion King story. It was nice seeing it again, I guess.
So here,
Okay, yeah.
I like how sometimes the hyper realism's like, oh look, I'm watching a cute cat. And that's all the only really novel thing out of any of this is knowing that this isn't real and it's being presented as real, and it's pretty convincing most of the time, except when they're talking.
so I was talking to somebody who
Somebody.
I was talking to somebody who was excited for this movie. Our age, my age, really,
I think I have a similar story.
and they're excited to bring their kids to it. And the reason I asked why, and the reason is because it's like their childhood, and they can show their kids, introduce their children to their childhood stuff that they loved and stuff in a
Finally,
different
this
way.
Lion King movie that I couldn't show them.
No, but like the same experience that they had.
Disney stole my copy and
they
put
wanted-
it in a vault.
They wanted something a little bit different, and they wanted something a little bit different, but to experience that with their kids. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's great and all, but when Lion King came out, my mom and dad there wasn't a Lion King before it, and took us to see it. There was Snow White. There was other things that they experienced that they loved. That was something like that was in the same vein of these.
It's like a
Disney-
legacy, but it's not the
a
same
legacy,
thing.
the same thing, but they're still sharing something that they love and
Yeah.
still going to something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And something different. And then I'm thinking to myself, man, Disney has become so lazy, and like the artistry is gone.
That is such
Well,
The
that's,
artistry is gone.
that's a okay.
that's such an but what if, just for thought experiment, what if what you just said is like punching me in the face? What if it's not laziness, it's this feel of, it's like a world philosophy that no, there is nothing better. What I liked, you need to like. Like that's what's driving it. Is
Well,
like
Too bad he's right.
we want this for a new generation because it is what is good. Nothing you can come up with now is any good.
Well,
what I liked as a kid is what you should like.
I think part of that, but I also think it's all a money grab. I mean, it's all a money grab.
Yeah,
it's all,
that's
like, we've all become like everything we see is now comic books or Star Wars or nostalgia. It's everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
and like I'm tired of it. And I guess people wanted that for a while. Why didn't we have? Now we just can't get too much of it. It's like I miss stumbling in something new. Something that's.
And it's not to say that you can't now. It's just harder to find.
Well, it's more in the lines of
Right.
Netflix or something like that, a TV show.
TV's
but
where
now
it all
they're
is
getting
now.
the same formula. Like Stranger Things 3 came out. Like I don't really want to watch it.
Oh, I loved it. It's good. I still like that stuff
Well, I mean, but I'm saying like let's do something new now.
because it's about things I'm nostalgic for.
But I'm tired of that crap. You know what I mean? I'm really tired. But here's the thing. Okay, Star Wars. We love Star Wars, the original Star Wars. It's something that George Lucas was nostalgic about. He loved the old, the matinees and serials and stuff, and Flash Gordons and all that stuff, of that time. So he decided to take the spirit of that and make something new of that. Why can't we do something like that instead of directly making the same thing?
Because every movie needs to make $1 billion.
You can still
Yeah.
but you can still like nostalgia. And
Channel it.
Channel like I appreciate Steven Spielberg movies and all these different movies, and I love the things he did. But I want to make my own kind of movie, that is in the same spirit of that tender love and care that he puts.
Are you sure you don't want to make a bubbly children's version of Jaws?
I think
at the end, Quinn and Bruce sit at a table and talk it over. In this age of differences and
I just feel that you're trying to eat me impedes on my rights.
I know, but I'm a shark.
Let's clear the plastic from this ocean.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's playing into it is the amount of money studios want to put into it makes them risk averse. So they fall back on not just reboots and remakes, because that's always been remakes have always been, maybe not to the same degree
Not
now,
to the same degree,
but it has been there.
But
The
a lot
thing
of times remakes were remakes of something that was bad.
the thing
To
that
make it better,
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think it goes along with what we're talking about, but it's kind of parallel, is that I also see historically accurate stories. It seems like there are way more of those now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just a feeling.
Historically accurate is in air quotes, by the way.
But like, I really mean that. To me, like true stories where they have source material, where the thinking part of it is lessened, and that means there's less risk to think through the creativity of coming up with an entire story arc. You're basically working from source material all the time. With the idea of reboots being, well, we'll just do that and maybe we'll tweak these things, and the work is less. And that way your risk is lower, but the impact is probably going to be the same because people
Same or worse.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
No,
There's just so much. So many of the movies now fall under one of those two. It seems like the blockbusters, at least, are historically based, or
also
reboots.
the movie model now, because of Netflix and because of streaming and everything, it has to be a big blockbuster.
Right.
It has. And
It has to make $1 billion.
It has to make $1 billion, or a studio won't risk something on a small. Like, a small studio couldn't exist making money off of small stuff. They could, but But a big studio like Disney.
But then they can't buy their fifth Lambo.
It's also not that it has to be a blockbuster. It's that they're going to invest in something that should be one. So the investment part up front is also like so high that.
Well, maybe. Just maybe don't spend $300 million making your movie.
Well, and that's what you were saying earlier about the
Maybe
scarcity
just spend a couple
part.
$100 million less.
But you know what? They spend so much money, but they don't pay the digital effects.
Oh, that's
artists.
a whole
They don't
other can of beans.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they just pump out these movies like crazy. They don't pay the digital effects artists anything. They work and they slave all day on stuff. That's why we complain some of the CGI that we see, but
there's a lot of work goes into that.
It is encouraging to see if a CGI artist
Hats
is given
off to 'em.
time, they get this in Planet of the Apes. If they given time to work on something, they can polish this beautiful artwork. But they're pumping them out. But also the fact that Aaron and I talk about, like, they want movies out faster now. Where it took 4 years to make an animation, and they had to make sure that they had something tight because they
4
spent,
years or more.
Yeah, they had to spend all this money on, so they really put time in pre-production. They put more time in pre-production than post. Now they shoot a movie, and they're just like, well, like
Shoots are like what? 3 weeks,
reshoots
4
are
weeks now.
crazy, and and then they just make crappy digital effects.
Now that's not to say that movies used to just take long times to be produced.
No, but
there were short shoots of any era.
But this one already had some. This one already had like an amazing animatic laid out for
That's
him.
what I'm saying is when
The
you
work
have,
was done.
When you have the storyboard, even if it's not literally drawn out storyboard, when you have the template of the story you're trying to tell, it's so much.
But is that what we want? Do we want that, or do we want art? Do you want something new? Do you want to see something new?
Yeah,
do you want to see art?
My main point here is I've seen this movie. Why'd they make it again?
Yeah.
This one was so much a copy paste of
It's making its
even
money.
shot.
Why
for
not just
shot.
re-release the original Lion King in theaters? That would make bank too.
Yeah. How much money did it make?
It's up to 700 million now.
700 million.
Yeah.
That's almost 800 million.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
They're going to keep doing it.
And that makes me sad
It makes me sad
because
too.
Disney has everything it takes to be good.
No, but
The thing they need the philosophy that sort of Pixar has of like they Pixar, at least in back when they were more independent, was like, well, we got to make a Cars 3 so that we can have some money, like, and then we'll do one that's a unique story. Like that was their goal, was to make stories that hadn't been told necessarily, and the sequels are all because they needed like actual cash in the
Can I
pan.
tell you, I've not been excited for a Pixar movie in a long time. I haven't watched the
long
last
time.
two. I haven't watched the last two.
Oh, what?
Incredibles and
Well, Incredibles was because it was a sequel.
Toy Story 4. I didn't.
Toy Story 4 was pretty good. Coco was really good.
Coco I watched, but it's the same. I think when John Lasseter was touching people too much, when they got rid of him, I think it's kind of showing it a little bit.
Can't get
Toy
rid of
Story
that
4
touching.
was fine. Toy Story 4 was pretty good.
Do we need it though? Do we need it?
We really
They had
didn't need
they
three
had, They had
either.
a good send off.
We should have done that for the show. It sounds like, but maybe on another time.
No,
I,
I want to review something that people don't see before.
right. I have a second controversial opinion. If you want to make better movies, you might, as a studio, you might want to focus less on huge budgets, and you might want to have to think in the mindset of we don't need to get super rich. We should probably focus on the craft.
Oh, they don't want to though.
I know.
because all they want to do is get
I'm not
super rich.
suggesting this will ever happen, but what I'm trying to say is they need to not care so much about being rich.
Or like what Matt said, they need to have a
Hippy dippy opinion, I know.
They need to have their big budget and then release some, John Carter's and Mars.
I don't know if it's necessarily that this movie didn't care about craft. It's just that
It was spent in the wrong
But
place.
the people who are making it, there's no room necessarily.
But the
unless
story
they-
of the craft. The story is the craft. Story is craft. Craft is story. Craft is craft food. Craft food is also like the macaroni and cheese.
Are you
that I
gold
like.
blooming? Are you like going down these different?
Now you see mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese. Mac and cheese.
All right, let's go ahead and rate this movie.
Okay.
Aaron, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.
Okay, that's what I was going to give it.
I'll give it a 10.
Whoa! Ben with the big guns. Now, I give it a 4 because I didn't want to go see it. It's the same movie, which means it would be good if there wasn't an original. But this one has many shortcomings in terms of expression of the characters. Falls into the uncanny valley far too often. The story's there, but it was already there.
Well, here's another thing. The story itself is not original. They pulled from Hamlet, but it would.
Quiet, you.
But I'm saying
it was and pulled from Kimba or whatever. Yeah.
But that's how you pay, respect and love to something that you like. That worked.
That you like.
You like it.
Now, as I've said before, I would have been far more excited for this if it was a completely realistic sort of National Geographic thing. I would have loved to see that. Because realism's not bad. You just got to do it right.
That's why I like
Apocalypto
That's why I look
version of
That's
this.
why I look.
Apocalypto was amazing.
I do have to say Mulan looks a little interesting to me.
I think Mulan looks
because
great.
it looks.
I
They
think
try to
looks-
make it
Dad, have
more.
you seen Apocalypto?
Me? Yeah, that's why I said it.
I love that movie.
I know.
That was an experience.
I got to see it.
I was like slack jawed
pretty good.
half the time in that movie.
Mel Gibson.
I'll have to see it.
I don't think we've decided what movie we're doing next week.
Wait, Ben, are you really giving it a 10 or did I miss your actual review?
Oh, I don't even know. I can't give it a real review.
No,
because
give us a spitball. What do you think you would have given it?
probably the same as you guys
No.
because it's like I enjoyed the original.
That's it, Matt, for the scorecard. 444.
444.
It sounded like they used the same guy's voice exactly. They just didn't re-record him at the beginning.
It
No,
sounded like
was
it was
the same
exact
It was the same
song,
voice clip.
track.
The
Yeah.
same track that just didn't record
Had to
him.
have been, yeah.
That's kind of bullshit.
Eh.
Use somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, but
Eh.
that's the whole movie. Like the whole movie
Do
is that
something else.
basically.
Make a different movie.
Yeah, like it's
Do a
sort of
live action
copy-paste.
version
Yeah,
of Lion King 2.
Did we get any comments or anybody respond?
There's
Yeah,
a-
Shinaraku says, this is Bob Barker reminding you not to forget to spay and neuter your Lion Kings.
That was the one photorealistic thing that they removed, and the lions were not anatomically correct.
Oh, really? They're not. They didn't
There
show
were
the
no
balls?
genitals. They did not.
I think it's a male plane.
How do they reproduce? This is not realistic. And I heard that Can You Feel the Love Tonight? It was never night.
It wasn't night. No, you're right. It was day the whole time.
Listen, computer graphics at night is harder.
They're like, well, we want to be realistic, and then like, if we wanted to really be realistic,
I mean, in
this
the
is-
real world, night doesn't really
Yeah,
occur.
they're like, this is black. it's like this is what Africa looks like at night.
I don't know. The moon's pretty strong in some places.
That'd be funny.
There's just an overload of,
the realistic version,
fireflies
the,
or
the
something.
realistic version of the Lion King. Can you feel the love tonight? And you just hear the voices. You know,
Yeah. You just see their eyes, yeah,
Simba, where are you?
This is realistic.
bumping into stuff.
I'm John Favreau. I want to make it realistic.
Good. So
Oh
good.
my God, John Favreau, fall from grace.
All right.
Was he on Grace? Will and Grace.
I thought.
Grace.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Will and
okay.
Grace. Cheeseburgers. We like I said, we don't know what movie we're doing next week. We'll release it on our Twitter, Facebook, and something like that in the coming days. And if you aren't already a patron, definitely become one for our Patreon.
Did
What?
you want me to get you something?
What?
Did you want me to get you something?
Get me what?
Well, I don't want to get you something. It's the lioness' jobs to do the hunting.
Oh my God, perfect. That was beautiful. Oh my God.